Hi guys, welcome to Mama Thoughts in August. Happy to be smiling right now because we have had a very confronting and challenging few days. I'm in the most beautiful location you can imagine. I'll show you where I am. I'm in Hamilton Island. This is the view from our room. I mean, it's nuts. There's the ocean right there, and there's a big beautiful pool right on the edge there. You know, we're staying in this beautiful place, but it's been really hard to enjoy a lot of it because we have been dealing with our sick little Manny, Bodhi, who got sick kind of out of the blue, and the sickest he's ever been, and was really traumatic for everyone. But so I actually thought I need to kind of talk about that because that's really what's been going on for us, and it's hard to not talk about it. So on the plane over here, he pooped his pants, and that's when I knew, he's been toilet trained since he was 2. So that's when I knew that, he has a funny tummy. And then what ended up happening was for the next 3 days, he was really sick. So he had gastro and he couldn't keep any liquids down at all. And it was really frightening because you have these bright, vibrant children who are so full of energy and their big opinions and these personalities, and Bodhi's the life of the party. He's such an extrovert and is always cracking everyone up, and then here's my child who seemed completely listless and out of it and sleeping all the time. He couldn't walk, his body was sore, bumps came up on his skin, he couldn't keep any liquids down whatsoever, so little tiny sips of water to try and rehydrate him. He was throwing that up, was coming out from all ends, and his colour just kept getting worse and worse and worse, and his eyes were really sunken in, and he just looked so sallow. And he's a really petite child as it is, and I could just see him losing weight. And so we had the doctors out every day, and it's an incredible medical team actually here on Hamilton Island who have been such a huge support, and same with Audi Australia. I'm one of the new ambassadors for them, and they let us keep the place that we were staying in. We were supposed to move out because another family were moving in, and they're like, stay there. They brought us fruit and food and drinks, and all the medical staff were aware of Bodhi, and they just really bent over backwards. And we had paramedics out in the middle of the night, and it was really scary. And we definitely had a moment of just dread. Mark and I just looked at each other, and when Bodhi just wasn't really waking up, and we just bawled our eyes out. We both just looked at each other, and we really thought that it was something so much more serious than what it was. And dehydration in children can be very, very serious. And luckily, he was very, very behind in his hydration because he couldn't keep anything down. So I ultimately made the decision to go to the medical centre here and to get an IV, and he had fluids, and he felt so much better. And that was last night. And so then this morning he's woken up, and he's a new little man. His personality's back. He's trying to fight with his baby brother. He's back. He's back. But we're the lucky ones. And Mark and I, in that 10-minute period where we thought that something else was going on, before the paramedics arrived, our whole world came crashing down. Our blissful reality just came to a complete halt, and it was just the most horrendous feeling to think that there could be something seriously wrong with your child. And it really put things in perspective for us. And it just made me think about all those parents out there who aren't in the position that we're in, and who aren't taking home a healthy child. And it could have gone a different way for us. We were really scared that it was going to, but I've just been thinking so much about those parents who have to see their child in physical pain. It's incredibly traumatic and confronting, and some people see that every day, all day, and their children don't get better, and they end up losing their children. This experience has really hit home for us and has really shaken things up, and makes me just understand and just like appreciate us as the mortal beings that we are. And you know, I think a lot of people look at death and look at you know, the end of one's life as something kind of taboo and scary. We don't really talk about it. It's not something we concentrate much on, but I believe that it's very healthy to understand our mortality and to understand the fragility of life. And the gift that that gives you is immense. Already, just in the past few days, having that wake-up call and having that reminder that your children can be healthy one minute and then the next minute not, and you don't recognize them. And it is an invaluable lesson, because I think it helps you in all aspects of your life. I think it helps you with your parenting, and it helps you in those really challenging moments, just to remember that if you have healthy children, you're so grateful. You're so undeniably blessed. And we feel like we've won the lottery. And it's just been a really interesting period of reflection and getting closer, and you know, being really vulnerable with each other. Mark and I have been incredibly vulnerable and open, and I really do. I love the idea of celebrating life, because it is so short and it is so fragile. So there was a gift in this experience in many ways, just opening our eyes and giving us that perspective that we need. I think as human beings and as mothers in a very busy life, we become so desensitized to all the wonderful things, because we just go, and there are things to do and responsibilities that we have, and we forget that there are so many other families just fighting for their children to survive that day. And so it's nice to remember that. It's really nice to remember that. And to not be afraid of our mortality, to be okay to explore that and to understand what that means, and you know, and really talk to our children about all the peaks and valleys of life and all the scary things. And Isaac was so afraid seeing his little brother like this, seeing his brother so incapacitated, and just to sit with him and really talk about life and how lucky we are to have life and to have lungs that breathe, and you know, legs that we can use, and we're able-bodied people. We're so lucky. And you know, that's kind of been the theme of this past month for us. You know, before this little health scare with Bodhi, we were talking to our kids so much about how lucky they are. And it was so funny, because Isaac saw a card in a news agency which was like talking about how like parents always are telling their children how lucky they are. But instead of just doing that, we've been showing Isaac and Bodhi how lucky they are. And it came out of a place where, you know, we had got Isaac a bike, and It was a beautiful bike, a bike that I never would have been able to have as a kid. I grew up with a mother who had no money, and the bikes I got were from Goodwill, and I loved those bikes with everything, and I took care of those bikes. But our children are in much more privileged position than what I was in, and I recognized when Isaac said, oh, he didn't really like his bike, it triggered something in Mark and I, because we didn't have those opportunities as kids. So the theme of our month came to us because of witnessing our children in these positions that they're in life, just how lucky they are, and wanting to like hone in on them. Hey guys, like, you don't live like the majority of other children in the world, and how do we get you to understand that we are in the position we're in? It's okay to talk about it, but how do we really show you guys, you know, look at these people who don't have a roof over their heads? So we really immersed ourselves in charity over the past month, and exposed the kids to other ways of living and other ways of doing life, and other situations that people are in, just to really get that wake-up call of, hey guys, we need to be appreciative, and we need to wrap our heads around the idea that we were born into the position that we were born into, and many others were born into a position that it looks a lot different from the position that we're in. And I think in the last few weeks, the kids have really come to understand that, and this shake up with Bodhi, I think especially it hit home for Izzy, that things could look very different, and that really what's important is just family and coming together. None of the external stuff, none of that noise is important. It's just like the love that you have for your family and how present you can be with them. And that's really what we've been focusing on. So yeah, I think I'll just end it there. But I love you guys. Thanks very much for all your Instagram comments, and to the parents out there who are really affected by illness and having children who aren't healthy, my heart goes out to you. So, okay guys, I love you, and I will see you next month.